Louder with Crowder is brought to you in part by
CrowderShop.com.
You don't have to be a freeloader your whole life. The good news is that you can support this show and the fight by buying some really cool clothes. CrowderShop.com.
Tasty.
I'm increasing my lung capacity. My little test goes, says, you're not dying.
Hey, that's good.
So I'm getting better with my sips, so I hate watching that intro where I can see myself back when I had perceived muscle.
We're all dying.
Today I was in the gym and I tried to do a row, and I actually audibly went, and the guy next to me said, what?
Did you kick your ass?
Are you transitioning and aroused? I said, no, this is just hard. And I stopped.
Did the lunk alert go off at the Planet Fitness again?
I don't go there, but
sure?
the wussy alert went off. Yes, they said, sir, it's far too embarrassing. You have to leave. We can't have members with no self-respect. And I said, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's
I belong there.
Yes.
We all have lifelong memberships and they've been revoked. That is an ego killer. Hey, I have a question for you. Before we move on, you guys can comment below. What did you do yesterday when Facebook and IG, they call Instagram the IG there, Dave?
I noticed that.
Ig.
When the IG went down. What did you guys do? And is it just one of those coincidences? We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about, look, later on, and we have a video coming up later this week where Quarterback Garrett knows this. We went down and we interviewed a bunch of wealthy white people about masks and mask mandates, vaccine mandates. And then we went to an area where it was predominantly people of color and asked them about it. Two very, very different answers.
Who would have known?
But we talked about natural immunity and nobody knew about it. And it's something that we have not been allowed to talk about on YouTube, except for the fact that now it's been admitted undercover from the Pfizer scientists, and now we have studies from Israel that shows, surprise, it works better.
That's weird.
So we're going to be talking, and like, this is important because this is something everybody needs to know. If our interest right here in this country is to get back to normal, if our interests right here, if they're aligned, we want everyone to be protected, that needs to be taken into account. And unfortunately, the media and some of these companies have been lying to you about it, which tells you that maybe our interests aren't aligned. Okay,
maybe.
Before we go on to that, we'll also be talking about Joe Biden wiping his tuchus. Gerald Day, how are you?
I'm still sick, hoping I'm getting natural immunity as we speak, paying my dues.
Me too.
Yeah.
We'll do Blood Brothers with the popsicle stick afterward.
Cool.
And
how are you, though? I have to ask, how are you?
Well, aside from that,
You're okay?
Okay.
I mean, it's a relative
You do
term.
something manly afterwards to kind of cancel it out? Like,
well, I did beat up a school grade girl who mocked me.
Yes.
I don't know if
Again?
that works.
She was at the daycare center of the gym. I just
Really?
walked in. I knocked over a few blocks.
Pop her right in the nose.
Special needs.
Toughens them up. I don't want her playing
Terrible.
TikTok gender pronouns. Quarterback Garrett, how are you?
Yo, what's up? What's going on?
Oh, you feel like you have a beanie, so you have to do the voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. I
Okay.
have no clue.
All right.
Had a good weekend, though.
Good weekend?
Yeah, good weekend.
No scythe cells? No sling blade cells?
No.
Some people call it a sickle cell. I call it a sling blade cell.
Oh, boy.
And
Just regular cells.
Dave Landau is here. How are you?
I'm good. Ahoy.
Good. You're looking chipper.
I am. I'm chipper. I'm up.
You have a show coming up too, a replacement, by the way, in Kansas, November 11th at the Cotillion in Wichita. You can go to cotillion.com. We have the link down below because you had to swap out the show because another place they were a bunch of fascists.
Yes, that's correct.
Darn
This
fascists
place is
everywhere.
not.
Right.
And this place, it looks like they get really great bands. I saw they had Stone Temple Pilots, so I know that most of that band will be there.
Ooh, very nice. You
Scott Weiland may not make it, but the rest of them.
should have been tipped off when the other booker was named Mr. Pol Pot.
That's true. Yes.
Should have been dead
Much
giveaway.
better venue. Come on out.
Before we move on, though, this is something that's been going on. And by the way, we'll be talking later. This the Predator lookalike is whistleblower is, I guess, testifying before the Senate right now. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. You guys can send us your chat if you're a member of Mug Club and let us know what it is you want us to address. But first, this is going on TikTok. A leftist teacher tried to teach a bunch of preschool kids nursery rhymes, which is why I have to hit them. about masks. Here you go.
2, 3. I wear a mask to school. I wear a mask to school.
Rough start.
Hi ho the Dario. I
that Fran
wear a
Drescher?
mask to school.
Wear a mask.
It helps to keep me safe. It helps to keep me safe. Hi ho the Dario. It
Your
helps
oxygen
to keep
level's
me
11.
safe. It
A
keeps my
ventilator in
friends
your
safe.
mouth.
It keeps my friends safe. Hi ho the Dario.
The kids are like,
It
"Whatever,
keeps
lady."
my friends safe. And let me see a hooray! Put your hands up in the air.
That looks like kids at a birthday party of a rich kid that they don't like, but there was an ice cream truck. So they're like,
Easiest thing in the world is to get kids to scream, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Right, whatever. It's like, jeez, come on.
you could have just incorporated some kind of sweets into the nursery rhyme, and they would have
no.
cheered, and your propaganda would be that much more effective. Hey, just like yesterday with cinema, people don't understand this. We've had videos removed.
Yeah.
And Project Veritas has for privacy violations. It's illegal to film children without their parents' consent.
Yes.
It's illegal to film people in the bathroom. It's perfectly legal to film people or to record audio in single-party consent states if they are adults not relieving themselves in the bathroom, and you can't film children. But again, these big tech companies don't actually follow the laws that exist, and they create new ones. It is a lawless, lawless place where dreams go to die.
I was wondering about that because a comic, I don't want to call him that, but some guy years ago filmed himself playing a filthy song, then cut it with a class that he was substitute teaching, and I believe he went to jail. Like,
Did he?
Like actual jail time for
You know,
this.
they
And
had
this
fun
is
with him.
more egregious.
Back when
Sing
they,
us a song.
Yeah, give us a dice clay. nursery
How
rhyme.
about you sing us a song about old MacDonald?
Yeah, it'll make it go better.
Old MacDonald had a fanny.
The wheels on the gurney go round and round, round and round, round and round. 'Cause a kid didn't wear a mask. Now the horn on the hearse goes beep, beep, beep. Oh no, beep, beep, beep. You
Old
like that?
MacDonald had a mask, E-I-E-I-O, and on top of the mask he had a vaccine, E-I-E-I-O,
Terrible.
and he died from a breakthrough case, E-I-E-I-O.
Poor
Now
fool.
he's buried on his farm, E-I-E-I-O.
Under the tree.
5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Went to the doctor, and the doctor said, was a brain hemorrhage, but marked a COVID instead.
We can keep doing this. Black sheep, please take the vaccine. Why not? Why not? Most white sheep did.
There's a lesson.
Hesitancy. I don't know what to do. I'm racially uncomfortable, so I'll just ignore it.
You know, Ring Around the Rosie, an actual kid's rhyme, was actually about the plague, right?
Yeah, pocket full of posy.
Yeah. Like it
I
was
don't even know
flowers
that.
It was flowers that they would stuff in your pocket so you wouldn't smell as bad. Ring Around the Rosie was actually like how your face would look. Like literally, they made a children's rhyme about people dying.
Yeah.
Poor
of
Rosie.
the plague.
It was good
Rosie-
times.
You can bring it up if we can before the end of the day. We'll have it. I just want to make sure that I'm accurate.
Is Posy
you
the
are.
beak? Like,
No.
remember the beak mask that, like, the
Oh, yeah, the
Beetlejuice
plague
mask they
doctor.
would
No.
wear?
Is that what it was?
No.
Yeah, it was
Posy's
a
a
plague.
flower, right?
Yeah, and they
think
filled
Posy's
it
a
with
flower.
potpourri, and
So you
they
wouldn't-
died anyway.
From lack of
Yeah.
oxygen.
They just died wearing silly
They
masks.
didn't understand
They're
germs.
like, huh?
Yeah.
Somebody started a fire in London, and it looks like we're not dying anore. Oh,
Everyone's
maybe it was
dressed
the
like the
rats.
costume ball in Labyrinth.
Yes.
This wasn't hermetically sealed.
Just beat yourself some more and pay your penance, and God will forgive you.
Oh my gosh. All
They
right.
did.
So
God has not forgiven us. Look at the
Clearly.
world.
no.
I kept thinking yesterday, boy, I'm just glad so many people I loved are dead.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
No.
I just, there's so many people I wouldn't want to see this.
When you read about Sodom and Gomorrah, you're like, it's pretty mild.
Yeah, seems like
Like
a
really?
nice-
Hey,
really? He turned them to salt for that? Have you seen what goes on just across the bridge from Oakland?
Have you seen? May I present to you Las Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, that's a
even-
normal
that's
place
mild,
now,
really.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens in Gomorrah stays in Gomorrah.
Yeah, Las Vegas is like gay magicians. That's as crazy as it gets.
Now I'm going to make this man's consent form disappear.
Yeah.
Yay.
They said if God doesn't judge America, he owes Sodom and Gomorrah an apology.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
We're just asking for some consistency. We went to go see David Copperfield.
Yeah.
And whenever he makes women disappear from the audience, he has a type.
Oh,
And it was two blonde women with big breasts who then were seen on his private island not long after. Now, it's not an Epstein thing, it's consent, but he's like, I'm going to make two of you in the audience disappear. And I'm waving. He's like, you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
They just end up roofied in his room later that night.
Well, he got accused of sexual assault.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I believe the charges were dropped, but
He
I
made the
guess he
case
made
disappear.
he made the 9 and 1 buttons on her phone disappear.
Or where is it where is it now? Is it in Austin? Also the 3-in-1 buttons. You don't call the police for non-emergency.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Austin. I mean, technically you're not supposed to call the police, but this includes things like your car has just been robbed or you don't know if someone's robbing your house.
Not an emergency. Or
Oh,
anything.
nothing serious.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
serious.
There's a guy in my house, but I'm not sure if he's going to stab me or masturbate. So
Well, if you're not
sure
this
yet.
place out.
If you're not in it, just don't go in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
I assume they have to do that in New York because, look, if you have children, I would say, okay, 3, 2, just giving you a warning. No one, if you've lived in New York for a certain amount of time, has not been masturbated upon in the subway.
That's true.
What?
We've all had a little bit.
It's
all the
very
time.
common.
I'm telling you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
I lived in
understand
New
like
York.
how.
Yes,
Not
you
a
learned
bit,
your
this is
lesson.
real.
The first couple of months you live in Manhattan and you take the subway. You know, you look like a Zara ad. You're dressed fashionably, and then
Right.
by month 6, everyone looks like Paddington Bear.
Really?
It's
Do you
true.
just wear like a raincoat?
Yes.
There's
Do they have a mist station that you go in and just?
I took a video of Spider-Man crawling on the ceiling of the train I was on.
Nice.
And no one caring at all. It's everyone just looking
Just
down
looking.
at their phones. Like anywhere else on Earth, that would seem strange.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, at least he's not masturbating.
Yes. So like,
He has clothes on.
Like,
It.
that's a weird web.
who knows?
At least he's not.
Who knows? You do your thing. Oh wait, there's a pile of crap. Just let's just put caution tape around it.
Yeah. Don't actually
Don't clean it up.
yeah.
How many people though did you see when you lived in New York using the bathroom just on the subway? At least what, a dozen?
Oh, I can't.
You
lost
can't
track.
even, yeah,
I
it's
lost
so
count.
many.
Why don't you just beat the crap out of them? Sorry, I'm not.
Well, that
advocating
defeats
Well,
the
they
purpose.
already got the
Saying.
crap out.
I'm not gonna go fight a guy who's pooping.
Yeah, that's not
Do
a
you know
good
how
plan.
mad people get when they're pooping and somebody tries to punch them?
Well, it just could be a mess.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
He grabs a whole
It's a
handful.
great defense. That's like the crab revealing his red underside. You're like, oh, it must be poisonous. Only once you see him make this face, you cut him a white swath.
Don't go close.
The point is, New York's a hellhole, and so is San Francisco, and it's not a coincidence. Hey, speaking of going to the bathroom, so remember yesterday we were talking about Senator Sinema? Uh-huh. And if I say Sistema, just know it's just in my head for some reason, because Sistema
Why?
is like the French. It's like some French combat
okay.
art that doesn't work. The point is, I may accidentally mispronounce it.
All right.
Unfortunately, here's the thing. She was followed into the bathroom, which is illegal,
Right.
just like
Yes.
filming little kids.
Yes.
Turns out, I don't know when it gets to stalking. Turns out that it was not the first encounter at all. And it's amazing to see. You know, you always wondered, what would it take for the Democrats, the left, to condemn people in their own ranks? You would think following someone in to take a dump and filming them, which is illegal, a gross violation of privacy, would suffice. Not with the president. We'll get that to that in a second. But this woman has been followed quite a bit, Cinema. Here you go. Here are the other times we have a montage.
We need solutions. The Build Back Better plan has the solutions that we need.
We knocked on doors for you to get you elected, and just how we got you elected, we can get you out of office if you don't support what you promised us.
Oh, it's bilingual stalking.
She brought it on herself. I hope this isn't in Austin.
I ask if you can explain to the American people what you're planning on cutting from Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan. Do you want to cut climate priorities? Is it elder care that you want to cut?
I'm on the phone.
Maybe she has a shiv, and you might find yourself
Asking for your help.
there.
Senator, we need you. Senator,
on the flight.
how are you?
Stewardess.
Sorry, Stewardess! I don't know if you remember me. I just want to know if you can commit, as my senator, if you can commit to passing a reconciliation.
How'd you get in that seat?
That could provide a pathway to citizenship for immigrants.
By the way, can we pause that? Pause it. Just in, Senator Sinema just lost 100,000 Instagram followers.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
it's
sad.
a shame.
Lost. Why would you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like
It
she
just
gained.
keeps happening.
Oh man, I just started liking her just then.
Yeah.
No, it's sad.
I have an honest question.
No, just to be clear, not her policies.
No.
no.
Well,
No.
depends on her.
Two of them.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have an honest question. That person on the plane, I think, is the same person in the video that said
the
I'm
bathroom.
an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
Right? And she also said, "You're my senator."
Right.
Do you understand what that implies?
Yes, that she voted.
Illegally.
Yeah.
How did an illegal?
What's your point?
How many times, though?
Just saying, like, how?
Oh, you seem
I
surprised.
seem very surprised.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And
How did
this
she
is-
get on a plane? Like, what identification did she
Yeah.
use?
No, that's racist.
Just
They
accused
don't get asked.
TSA of
Yeah.
being racist.
Oh, and they were like, "Go ahead, it's fine."
I don't need to go to the machine. Is it because I'm Latinx?
No. Go ahead. You can go. Go around the ropes. Yes.
Okay, that's
totally
good.
fine. Yeah.
My system still works.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ask this lady some questions.
I don't have to pay for TSA pre.
We know at least one illegal vote in Arizona. Just saying, there might be more.
At least
Possibly.
one.
At least one.
And people say, "Hey, you think we should deport these people?" So,
There's just no proof now that anybody that was illegal helped him run.
there's no proof
none
whatsoever,
whatsoever.
and it's not like that's an admission of guilt that she went out and campaigned for him and voted for him, but is afraid that she can't go back to Mexico because she may not be able to come back to the United States, despite the fact that, of course, Mexico is equal.
Equal.
Getting
Equally
word
good.
that they're dreamers.
Dreamers?
Oh, they're
So
dreamers.
did they get?
So they're fill-ins, they're understudies for Les Mis.
So did dreamers?
I have a
get
dream
the
of
right to
dreams
vote?
gone by
Did dreamers?
that
get the-
I could harass Senor Cinema.
It's a small dream, but one.
I have a dream gone by.
I'm curious. Did they actually do dreamers get the right to vote?
Well,
Like if the Dreamer Act like basically said you get full citizenship, right? Just kind of at the end
Well,
of the day.
you mean how many times?
Well, yeah. Well,
They just
yeah.
they go
What's the-
back
what's
through
the
like it's a
number?
revolving
No,
door,
yeah.
and they say you've already voted, and they say one more time.
They're saying no, they're undocumented.
Oh,
there
okay.
you
So
go.
that's what I thought. I didn't think the Dreamer thing had fully happened. I think that was the
Well, they
proposal,
want it to
but-
happen.
Yeah.
That was
They want
the
it to
dream.
happen. Yeah,
That's
I don't.
the dream.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Different dream, though.
Who would dream of
Right,
going
right.
to the United States when all countries are equal?
You have Acapulco.
that's a nice place.
Yeah.
I like Cancun. So I'm into
Just
tramp
saying.
stamps and yardstick drinks.
I'm into white trash on vacation.
Yeah, I just love garbage people.
Yes.
I like to witness sexual assault for a weekend.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, come on, have you been?
Dave's more of a watcher.
And it's all inclusive,
Yeah.
but in the loosest sense of the word.
well,
yeah,
yeah.
it's very
It means they include the things that'll get you so inebriated that you pay for the other things.
Right.
I know. I went there when they had the climate summit. Just in case you know that they weren't taking it seriously. As where should we have the climate summit? You know the one where Ted Turner said
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we should do China's one policy? So, I know. Let's all. What's Skype? Let's all fly to Cancun
Where no
for
one
the
lives.
climate
Yeah.
summit to bitch about carbon emissions. Of course, former Vice President Joe Biden was asked about this, and this is what I would call a layup, right? Hey, what do you think about them following a sitting senator into the bathroom, harassing her, breaking the law? This is an easy, just condemn it so that you can assume the moral high ground. But of course, he didn't take the freebie.
Mr. President, you're talking about how you have 48 Democratic votes right now. The other two have been pressured over the weekend by activists. Joe Manchin had people on kayaks show up to his boat to yell at him. Senator Sinema last night was chased into a restroom. Do you think that those tactics are crossing a line?
I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody. From the only people it doesn't happen to are people who have Secret Service standing around them. It's part of the process.
Let's be clear. It actually happens to quite literally nobody. Well, it happens to two people. It happens to Larry Craig and this person. And he took a wide stance, took a power stance when he would go to the bathroom.
Nice.
And maybe former Vice President Joe Biden just thinks it's normal for people to follow you into the bathroom because he's one of the few people who actually has a team of folks following him in to wipe his ass. Notice he didn't say, I wiped my butt.
Yeah.
No, my butt's
It has
been
been
wiped.
wiped.
Someone else did that for him.
Yeah.
So when he's not emptying his colostomy bag, he's having other people wipe him.
Also, when he goes to the restroom at a public restaurant, you can see that the door is swinging open and closed, and you can hear him say, I'm all done.
I made a poopy.
I wish he was making that speech just cut and all the reporters were in kayaks.
Yeah.
What a stupid.
It must be those
going
land kayaks.
You know, the funniest thing is that when they were trying to come up with what he actually said to like spin it, he was like, no. He said, what, spin what? Like,
No, he
that
said
makes it
wiped
sound
my
worse.
butt. My
My
butt's been
butt's
wiped.
been wiped. I heard it. I saw
Did
it.
you just say my butt's been wiped? Huh?
What?
It has been.
It's like
We all have butts. What? Everybody poops. Come on.
What are we doing?
he either hired somebody to be his own personal bidet, or he doesn't know how to speak the English language and he's president. Which
It's
one
just
would
a
you
dreamer with a
choose?
fire hose. I have a dream of dreams going by.
A super soaker works well as a bidet.
Yeah.
If you
Yes,
guys
I
think
would
of it.
got a
prefer
lot of
the
power in
jet stream this morning
If you
instead of the
can't-
mist.
Yeah, if you can't afford a bidet.
Right. It's just
It
a
is.
dreamer with a super soaker, especially the one that can go around corners.
Oh.
I'm
never had
not
that.
looking at you. And, oh, surprise.
I never had
You
that.
say it's essential.
I wish.
Yeah, oh, it's essential. It's essential childhood toys. Hey, by the way, before we move on, it's a podcast. You can subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Android. When we were banned from YouTube for a couple of weeks, a lot of people
Yeah.
went over there. So just use it as a backup. I know you want to watch it. Of course, Mug Club is the best place to watch. Like today, we'll be playing the Bad Movie Lines, an extra hour of the show. And the best way to tune in if you're watching on YouTube, it's live. Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And of course, just leave a comment and hit the like button. Andrew Yang is in the news.
He is, huh?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Again.
Cool guy.
Been a while.
He announced on a blog post that he would be leaving the Democrats to be a moderate, but said that
Really?
you shouldn't. I don't know. So let me just read what he wrote at andrewyang.com. I changed my voting registration from Democrat to Independent today. It was a strangely emotional experience. Please keep in mind that I am not suggesting that you also change your voter registration to Independent, as I have done. Doing so could disenfranchise you if you live in the 83% of the country that is very blue or very red. What? I don't understand what it is. Like, do not as I do as I say. But you also are saying that the Democrat Party is corrupt and beyond repair.
And
Yeah.
leaving
I
it.
also
Yeah.
don't understand how he thinks the full country is 166%.
Yes, exactly. Well, he's not a math Asian.
Yeah, not one of those.
Obviously not.
No, he's more of a whipped cream and Jello shots Asian.
Yeah, that's true. More of a falling off a skateboard Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing because he thinks he's still relevant and anybody cares. Like
He's like, hey,
this
guys,
guy
I'm leaving the
is-
Democratic
Well, look,
Party.
some
and-
people, millions of Democrats
Andrew Yang.
out there, they are going to miss his promise for endless free money.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
For UBI and
That's
stuff,
true.
so.
He is one of the few people that ran on. I'll give you $1,000 if you vote for me.
I'm not bribing you or anything.
Yes, that's right.
What about anything else? Look,
I don't know.
come on, $1,000 a month. Okay, a month.
That's pretty good.
We good?
Get yourself
a
a Weber, some steaks.
Yeah, it'll work, yeah.
You
ain't got the
dreamers
works.
can get yourself, I don't know, what, an El Camino you drive?
I don't know. Whatever you need to chase people into the bathroom at all hours of the day. Whatever you dreamers do.
A
See me on my
GoPro.
skateboard? Come on.
Yeah, look cool.
Man,
Beto did it?
Beto was like, look at this asshole. So it is time for the Democrats, at least, and the big money and the free money, the people who supported free money, for Andrew Yang and the Democratic Party. It is time to close.
Mr. Yang, your signature policy is to give every adult in the United States $1,000 a month, no questions asked. That's right. I think that's like $3.2 trillion a year. How would you do that? Sorry?
Time to close. Endings and beginnings are ending and beginning now. Time to close. It's time to go to places where you go to place yourself.
Pizza guy. I want that pizza.
I know that it's time for things to close. I know that it's time for things to close.
You are getting.
I know that it's time for things to close. Things to close.
This opening is complete.
Who's next? Get out of here.
DNC
He will be
lost
missed.
a good one.
He will be missed.
I just like to see him in that whipped cream bikini, like Varsity Blues.
Yeah. I have a problem with guys willing to hit the floor and open their mouths so quickly.
Yeah.
It's like,
Get in here, man.
He seems like the kind of guy who would like die in a drunken car crash, and his bros would have a roadside memorial with a PVC pipe.
Man, they would.
Yeah.
A shitty teddy bear they got at the airport,
Just
with his like a license plate with his initials.
just nothing too much.
Yeah. Then a bunch of his black friends would have a T-shirt with him on them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to get a dead
A
homie shirt.
white boy right here. A white boy.
They all just say Yang Gang in that ridiculous font.
Don't worry, he's still alive and well and scouring the country for another election to lose.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I wish him luck.
He is like the little Asian that could, only couldn't.
I'm the worst athlete on earth, and I can hit a ball. Like, he swung the bat and just spun.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know, there's going to be motion.
Right.
This is nuts.
I've
He
seen it in
just spun like the
cartoons.
Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't even get close. All right.
So this ball will be thrown at me?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this
Hey,
sport.
Pete, how do you handle the balls coming at you?
Yeah. Oh, Gerald, come
I'm
on,
sorry.
Gerald.
It's too far, man.
Baseball.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well,
Dirty.
Too much.
So, hey, speaking of too much, the George Floyd mural was defaced just 4 days after its debut.
Wow.
It was in New York City, to be clear. It was defaced with gray paint by a teen on a skateboard, and it was actually caught on tape. He just does it so matter-of-factly that the lady's like, can you do that? They don't even know how to react.
Is he fixing it?
Is he sprucing it up?
Oh.
Huh?
No
one does anything. In New York, people are so used to crime, they're just like, okay. Yeah. That's just, I guess this is happening. And they do nothing.
He basically is just a drive-by money shot.
That's effectively what it was. And by the way, there's actually a photo of the vandal now and a close-up.
Okay.
They've asked you to alert him immediately if you have any tips on the... Is that
him?
That's the picture?
That's the guy, yeah.
Really? Unedited.
Hey, Quarter Black? Where were you on Sunday?
I was visiting some friends in New York.
Huh. Oh, where about?
I mean,
is that paint on your hands?
This?
Yeah.
No, I was working on a project.
Okay, all right. You know, let's cut the crap. We know. Okay, we know it was you.
Yeah,
we know it was you.
You know what? Frankly, I couldn't be prouder.
Well.
It's just a coincidence, man.
Okay, all right. Well, look,
just for standing up in what he believes in.
Yeah, I guess.
Skating up.
You know what?
Visiting friends.
We have a tip line. We have a tip line. People from New York, you can send it, and we have a link in the description.
Yeah.
Speaking of coincidences, we actually have a segment here. And they're doing a testimony right now in front of the Senate. But we actually have a segment, Curious Coincidences, that we do here because, of course, we're not allowed to connect any dots. Otherwise, we could be banned. But coincidences for which there is no correlation in daily life that are inexplicable. It's almost like the X-Files. Only for coincidences that would seem actually entirely probable. Time for Crazy Coincidences. Okay, so yesterday we talked about, and actually you can bring her up right here. She's talking right now.
Like healthy recipes to anorexia promoting content over a very short period of time.
And has Facebook ever found, again, in its research, that kids show sign of addiction on Instagram?
I don't know, Ginger.
Facebook has studied a pattern that they call problematic use. What
Looks like you were in the tanning salon with those crappy little eyewear.
Did you hit the sprinkle freckle button?
Yes.
Several times.
Each one is a kiss from an angel. Fallen, but the point remains. So her name is it Frances Haugen? Anyway, yesterday we covered, she's the Facebook whistleblower. The
Hulk
BS claims that Hollywood Francis. Yeah. We covered the BS claim she was making that Facebook wasn't doing enough to combat hate speech, right? January 6th. So again, beware the Trojan horse here. There's a reason that this whistleblower is favored. There's a reason that, for example, when we had Antifa on camera with sawed-off shotguns and ice picks and threatening to kill Ben Shapiro, that nothing was done about it. There's a reason that they love this whistleblower and not the whistleblowers with receipts from Facebook who showed that there were codes embedded into conservative pages to actually throttle them. So be clear, if the media is making this girl their darling, there's a reason for it, okay? Don't let the sleight of hand fool you. That being said, something else that did come up in the interview on 60 Minutes on Sunday, but wasn't exclusive to this, and again was ignored by the media when Ted Cruz did it, but we'll show it first here, is she said that Facebook and IG, the kids call Instagram the IG.
IG.
Yeah.
IG.
That they were preying on the insecurities and suicidal thoughts of teenage girls to drive more traffic to the platform. Here's a clip from 60 Minutes of her saying it.
One of the Facebook internal studies that you found talks about how Instagram harms teenage girls.
Oh, yeah.
One study says 13.5% of teen girls say Instagram makes thoughts of suicide worse. 17% of teen girls say Instagram makes eating disorders worse.
So does watching
And what's
60 Minutes.
super tragic is Facebook's own research says as
Super
these
duper
young
tragic.
women begin to consume this eating disorder
She
content,
looks like
they get
Vigo the
more and more depressed,
Carpathian.
and it actually makes them use the app more.
Is she?
And so they end up in this feedback cycle where they hate their bodies more and more. Facebook's own research says it is not just that Instagram is dangerous for teenagers, that it harms teenagers. It's that it is distinctly worse than other forms of social media.
Yeah, no, the thing is, because you and I understand how it works in the show, but they shot his singles afterward where he's like,
Yeah. He's just putting his glasses in his mouth like, go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually listening to you.
mass teen suicide, you say.
Oh. She had man hands.
Just cut back to him. He has a pirate eye patch.
Interesting.
Vigo. Vigo the
He's got a
Carpathian.
different
That was so
haircut.
accurate, man.
That's a pretty good
A
call.
monocle. Then he has Civil War era gold
Can we
binoculars.
pull up Vigo the Carpathian?
It does look like Vigo the Carpathian.
It does, yeah.
She
to
looks
figure out
like
what she
Predator
looks
with
like.
the mask. But here's the thing. She made that comment. However, this is a comment that this is something that's been discussed quite a bit. Have you ever heard and this is a long clip, but I want you to watch the entire context because it wasn't just it's super duper bad, but Senator Ted Cruz actually grilled someone who worked at, I believe, at Facebook, one of these big tech platforms. I don't know if she worked with Instagram. We'll have it up here on the clip.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of the satanic forces against the
A little bit.
It's Satan. I'm a human. Nobel Prize winning for humans. So, that being said, I'm kind of retarded. So where have we heard it before? Senator Ted Cruz, only he drilled down and gave specifics. It's a longer clip. If you haven't seen this, you need to. Here you go.
One of the things the Wall Street Journal reported was that Mark Zuckerberg was personally and directly aware of that research. Is that correct?
Senator, Mark pays attention to a lot of the impact research that we do, and I don't know whether he was aware of the specific piece of research, but I know that he's looking at the research as we all are. I work with the research teams on a weekly basis, a daily basis, actually, in relation to the safety and security of the people on our platform.
That's a non-answer.
All right, so you said you weren't going to plead ignorant. Okay, a minute ago, you said that this research was, and I wrote it down because the phrase really jumped out at me. You said this is not bombshell research. I found that a pretty remarkable statement. The Wall Street Journal reported that your Facebook research concluded that 13% of British users and 6% of American users trace their desire to kill themselves to Instagram. And has the full research been released or not?
Actually, Senator, we've released 2 of the specific studies, and we're looking to release more research.
So what is the research you haven't released? What are you keeping secret? Because you're telling us if only you knew the full research, and then at the same time you're not releasing the research. So which is it?
I understand your question.
Do you want us to examine the full research or not?
Released 2 of the primary sources. We're trying to release others. I believe you have.
So you've cherry-picked the ones you want us to see. Have you released the research? I haven't seen this research, so if you've released it, I will happily take a look at it. Have you released the research that the Wall Street Journal said concluded, and this is your own researcher concluding, 13% of British users and 6% of American users trace their desire to kill themselves to Instagram? Have you released the underlying and the entire underlying research behind
Very
that?
specific question.
Respectfully, Senator, again, I disagree with the characterization of the research in the Wall Street
Have you
Journal.
released the entire
And I also-
research behind it? Have you released the research behind it? The entire research.
We've released the 2 studies as I.
So you've cherry-picked part of the research that you think helps your spin right now.
The only reason I'm not blowing my head off right now is because I don't want to lose Walther as a sponsor.
It's too far away.
And you're not on Instagram as much.
Think about this for a second. You have this dame who's up there doing the testimony. She's like, it's a super duper problem. And she's like, I don't think I understand the question. These people they're not only they're in charge of all information, they're your engineers. They're designing your vaccines and your planes.
And they're making you want to die.
Yeah, allegedly, because we don't have the research. So this happened yesterday.
She got the flowers behind her. A teen's funeral.
Yeah, exactly. She got it at Crappy Kitchen Designs Monthly.
They were going to throw it out.
They're not going to use them anyway.
There's 13% more now, and I like flowers.
Right. So, by the way, at the time that our show ended yesterday, when we were talking about this, and the Facebook story, the whistleblower blew up, 12 p.m. Eastern, began trending that Facebook and its subsidiaries, Instagram, the IG, and WhatsApp went down globally, remained down, again, for 6 hours, happened right after the story blew.
Interesting.
Weird.
I think Mark lost like $7 to $10 billion in net worth yesterday.
That was a bad day.
No, I'm being dead serious.
No, I know. It was a bad day.
Unbelievable.
Zuckerberg?
Yeah. Well, there is no other Mark.
Dude owes me $12.50.
By the way, this is just a perfect example. When you see the left, they bitch about billionaire corporations or multi-billion-dollar corporations, how corrupt they are. You know why? That's you guys. The mom and pop business down the street. And by the way, when I say mom and pop, I do mean businesses that are doing $50 million a year in revenue, $100 million a year in gross revenue. They're not out there deliberately abusing a system and causing global harm knowingly to just squeeze out a few extra dollars.
Yeah.
This is the reason that Jeff Bezos, the reason that Mark Zuckerberg believe that all billionaires are horrible human beings is because of them.
They're horrible humans.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the biggest asshole? I didn't even have to finish the sentence, did I? It's just
you interrupted.
Ugh.
I think the only person that looked at Instagram and was like, "Oh, my phone's not working," and then didn't care, and then found out the world ended to half the people like,
on the planet.
What's going on? What's going to happen if the internet ever shuts down? People aren't even going to know how to walk to a restaurant.
No, they're not going to know how to walk.
Can't find the restaurant.
There's this weird fabric with lines on it. A map? Oh, well, I guess if that's what you want to call it, that's what it's called. It's a map.
You can follow it. What?
And by the way, when they're talking about how it's only women wanting to kill themselves, look, men, comment below. If you've been on Instagram, if guys are seeing a record number of men on there with abs on their pecker, we don't throw ourselves out a window.
I don't even know what workout you do.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to gain muscle and lean down? Yeah. Women, a lot of them get implants, of course, on Facebook when we're talking about the unrealistic standards, the Instagram models, right? Butt implants, breast implants. The men are teeming with anabolic steroids. And then trying to tell you that it's from their yerba mate tea. The point is, it goes both ways. We're not one smoothie away from one direction here.
No, I love seeing a perfect 10 who I think would look at me as if I was invisible every 5 minutes thrown in my face.
Oh, yes, another person, another one, okay.
Everything about social media is depressing. It's designed to. Yeah. It's the best part of everybody's life being shown to you, airbrushed, everything. Yeah. It's designed to make you feel insecure because it's designed as a platform to get you to buy stuff to make you feel more secure. It's all it is. We're just trapped in it now.
Do you remember when gold digger used to be considered pejorative?
Yes.
Now women go, well, if you donate to my Amazon wish list, sure. Yeah, no, that's a healthy relationship to buy a complete stranger expensive gifts in the hope of filling this God-shaped hole in my soul.
Right.
Well, it's the same as like half the female comedians that do OnlyFans.
Right.
It's like, so that's your, she's like, yeah, I have this great ping pong ball act and I do stand up. But it's crazy.
She's so talented, though.
Have you seen me play the harmonica?
The whistleblower actually had an OnlyFans. I don't know if you guys have seen
What?
Really?
The whistleblower what?
Oh.
Well, see, that just makes me feel bad about myself. I've never had abs like that.
See, it's just impossible.
Yo, one sexy mother.
Oh, she sees his heat.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, in better news, at least all the millennials couldn't eat because they couldn't take pictures of their food to post on Instagram, so they just went on strike.
But then it's a vicious cycle because then it's the anorexic stuff on the Instagram.
Yeah.
She's Arnold's maid.
It comes out like talent.
It works. Why does my son look like Predator without the mask?
Just big-headed Predator.
That was the extended cut. You didn't get to see that from Predator 1.
All right. Well, we'll probably watch more of this on Mug Club because the problem is here's the thing: if someone says something right now on CNN, hey, look, 1 second, it's Amy Klobuchar, the woman who said that election security was the biggest threat to democracy and co-signed a letter with Bernie Sanders and with Elizabeth Warren, and then said, we were wrong. My raison d'etre for 5 years, I was wrong about that. Let me hear what she has to say in her helmet cut.
They found out that their algorithms are fostering polarization.
Why do you go into a barbershop and ask for the Princeton?
That they allowed 99% of their violent content to remain unchecked on their platform, including lead up to the January 6th insurrection.
Come on.
What did they do? They now, as we know, Mark Zuckerberg's going sailing and saying no apologies. I think the time has come for action, and I think you are the catalyst for that action. You have said privacy legislation
Hey,
is
guys,
not
let's be
enough.
clear. Let's just bring up, have someone in the control room just search for anything. Any article to this effect. She just said, violence. How many times has the left said that speech is violent? You've heard it and changed my mind. You've seen them in articles at Vox. Yeah, today. Yeah. It's like McDonald's. How many served with that stupid equivocation? Happens all the time. And now she's saying the violence. Well, guess what? We've been accused on Facebook of violence.
Yeah.
Do you know there was an article that actually Courtney and I quote, and it was about Beyonce when Beyonce was complaining that because it was of her race.
Yeah.
And I think the article is called "Dear Beyonce, it's not because you're black, it's because you're a whore." And it had gifs every time of her, like it would have gifs of her complaining about, and it had gifs of her like humping the air and like humping a desk. Like the reason Americans don't want you performing for their daughters. Look, you can do that in a strip club, but this has nothing to do with your race. And this speech could be interpreted as violence.
What I would really love to see too is if we can do some research on this. How many times did Amy Klobuchar go out there during the summer of love, as we have been told to call it, when people were burning down buildings, people were getting shot, stabbed, beaten en masse, officer casualties were crazy, billions of dollars in damage? Was she out there saying that, hey, we need to stop the violence on Facebook now?
Right.
Like in that time, or is it just the worst attack on the Capitol in history, other than the several bombings that have happened there?
No, she was out in Chinatown with Pelosi playing the back of the dragon while she's in the front.
It's an important part. If you don't play the back, it doesn't matter who plays the front,
It doesn't matter. This isn't Little Rascals.
Yeah, searching the internet so she looks like Tim Allen's wife on Home Improvement.
I
need a pantsuit.
Tim, I said I didn't want to do that. Like, oh, how'd you get this job?
Oh,
nice. By the way, you made a really good point, a serious point on this.
When I said,
not that. Definitely something else.
I love it when he goes,
That's what made him a star.
It's a calling card.
Don't you wish you started stand-up in the 90s? You'd be a god right now.
So this is really Trojan horse. Like, this is gaslighting. This is saying Facebook has to be stopped because they're not doing enough to silence speech. So now every time somebody brings up the social media argument, it's going to be in this vein because that's all you're saying.
And here's the thing. What they're not saying is enforce the law. Notice that. No one is saying, hey, on these platforms, you followed a woman into a bathroom.
Right.
That's illegal. Hey, on these platforms, you allowed children in a vaccination propaganda piece to be shown on camera. That's illegal. When we have people who give consent with whom we conduct an interview and then they don't like the direction of the video, we will have our stuff taken down. Yeah. This has happened in the past. So no one here is saying, hey, you need to enforce the law. They're saying, oh, look, can we give you more unfettered power to censor violence? By the way, speech is violence. Beware the Trojan horse. Just be aware of that. I think it's horrible that girls feel bad about themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's horrible if guys feel bad about themselves. Don't look at the Instagram. Remember when people used to say this about South Park? When they used to say it, and by the way, there was an interview with Matt Stone, and I asked him some questions. It was at UT Austin. He said, we never really were at war with Christians. They didn't want us on during the day. And they said, Matt Stone said, we didn't want to be on during the day. We wanted to be on at night. We don't think it's a kid's show.
Right, yeah.
So he's like, but the truth is the problems we have with people like Tipper Gore, they had the rating system.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Remember the argument used to be, well, just flip the channel? Flip the channel. Don't go to Instagram if it makes you feel bad about yourself. Now, I understand if they're targeting children. However, hey, how about enforcing the law? YouTube, hardcore gay pornography that's child-friendly, guys playing dicker dildo that's child-friendly, but if we quote the CDC, it gets tagged as misinformation and over 18 plus. One is illegal. Kids are not to have access to hardcore homosexual pornography, which you have en masse, but if we say something that you don't like, that gets removed because speech could be violence. No one on the left is saying, I would love that. Follow the laws. Enforce the laws. How about that? That's the litmus test. No. Don't create new laws. Enforce the laws.
Yeah, and absolutely. So I think, too, it feels like to me, I don't know if it feels like to you guys, Dave and Steve, I don't know if this feels like cover, right? Saying that this is harming young girls. This is harming them. Oh, and by the way, this is also violent content. It feels like, that's the thing everybody can get behind. Why would you argue against making sure that people don't kill themselves because they feel bad on Instagram?
I mean,
that's the argument. It feels like what they're doing as cover to kind of push this. You need more power to really push.
Well, who do you think the fat pride activists are going to love that? Like, that's what I've been saying. There should be no fit people on here.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Look at that with a BMI under 94.
But that's how they're going to.
That's not real women.
And that's
I love that a real woman is somehow morbidly obese.
Oh, my wife has gotten that. My wife. You were going to make a point, but this is true. You've met my wife.
I don't know my point. Well, I've never made one.
You've met my wife.
Yes, man.
If you've quarterback, you've met her parents.
Yeah.
Naturally tall, thin family. Yeah, you've met them. Naturally, all very tall, thin.
Get whisked away in a breeze.
And she's gotten comments from people like, "We only have sizes for a real woman." Like she's 6 foot. She's tall. She's naturally thin. You've been around her. We've gone out. She eats like a horse sometimes, and a lot of crap too, like sour straws and Skittles.
Not in a bad way.
She's encouraging too. She's like, hey, eat that.
She eats like a normal person should eat.
Well, no. She eats like normal at meals, and then between meals, eats all the crap that none of us could eat.
Fritos are good.
Yeah, exactly. Like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. But the point is, people feel totally comfortable telling my wife, like, that's not normal. That's not a real woman's size. Like, hold on a second. Why? You don't think that made her self-conscious? She was self-conscious
of course.
For a long time because people would make those comments and it wasn't her fault. It's hard for some people to put on weight. I get it. You should never just mock someone because they're overweight or underweight. The problem is when you have people who want to eliminate voices who are encouraging actual fitness, or when they want people to believe that being morbidly obese and having type 2 diabetes is just as healthy as not. That's not true. Okay. So in other words, they're going to be really happy about this right now. Watch. I predict it. Right here, you can call me to the mat. You are going to see some fat pride activist models talking about today's hearing or the findings and see this is what we were talking about. It's unhealthy. That's why you need us. That's why you need us out there. And then once they're done doing their cheer, they have to stop for everything to stop moving for like 60 seconds.
No, that's why we need the wide angle lens.
Well, yeah. Yes. Fortunately, Home Depot doesn't have that sturdy of rope.
Right. Also, most of them are... They're fat. Most of them are female actors. They don't know how to tie a knot.
You can't do that.
Jeez. They're ready to go in. They didn't go to Scouts.
Gotta learn sailing.
They're busy selling cookies. That's why more men kill themselves. They know how to tie the knots.
Take your rope.
Boy Scouts. That's
Take your
They
rope.
say that men kill themselves more because they have this expectation.
Of course.
And when you look at something like Instagram, you have this thing that you have to live up to, and there's so much material. It's why I love one of the quotes from Tyler Durden in Fight Club, which is like, "At what point do your possessions own you?"
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that eventually becomes why guys get so depressed and kill themselves because they don't think they add up.
Well, this is something that I've talked about a lot, and I spoke with my wife about this.
Yeah.
They say, well, women have these standards of beauty applied to us. First off, that happens to men too. That being said, something that women, and this is where you have people like Karen Strawn and feminists who say, you know what though, we've overshot it where we no longer are sympathetic to men. The reason that suicides are overwhelmingly committed by men, you said expectations. It's true. Every single man knows in here that the moment you found yourself attracted to women and your dad had the conversation about if you want to be a husband is you're going to have to support them. You didn't have the option. So with women, it's like, hey, you can be a stay-at-home mom. You can work if you want to. No one considers a woman a failure if she's not a career woman. She's a stay-at-home mom. I certainly don't. I think you should have the choice. Every single man who does not go to a job is considered a deadbeat loser. That is a different standard. And so if men get laid off from their job, the suicide skyrockets. If they haven't been promoted in their job, the suicide skyrockets. You don't see that same level of suicide tied directly to the profession of women because it's not expected as a baseline that you have to. All I'm asking women is that you understand that men have known since they were very, very young that if they want a woman in their life, if they want a wife or a woman to be attracted to them, they have to be successful professionally. It's not a choice for men, just to be clear, and the suicide rates reflect that. Okay.
No, you're right, though.
It really is.
And no, not to interrupt, but that's just a perfect way of saying that. And I do think that women are held to a much higher standard of beauty that's completely unfair, and I see that.
It's also because they're more beautiful.
Well, they're just, I don't even understand. The grossest thing about a woman is that she likes men.
Yes. Yes.
I just see guys, and I'm like I've seen myself naked. I'm like, what would arouse you about this?
Yeah.
It's not even the same color as the rest of my body.
Oh, I don't even know why you would. I can't believe that anyone would look at me naked and not just go, It's
like someone went over the area with a discolored highlighter.
Yeah, there's just nothing.
Like, how do I have jaundice just in my penis?
There's nothing appealing. Even gay dudes, it's like they gotta
Turn
wax
around.
to be. Well, they gotta still look. They gotta still be a little womanish,
Of course.
And that's the thing that's. It's just. Men are gross.
I have a point about, I'm going to write this down in my notepad. Remind me. Gay Asians. And it's not what you think.
Gaysian?
It's something that I've noticed.
All right.
I guess Gaysian. Okay. Question again.
They're like
how many of you? How many of you? We'll talk about it on Mug Club. How many of you have had COVID? You know what? Here's a question. How many of you out there have had COVID and then had COVID again? Genuinely want to know. The numbers are incredibly sparse. And how many of you have known about something called natural immunity? And do you think, look, all I'm arguing is that I think it should be included when we're talking about herd immunity, when we're talking about the population being vaccinated. I think that natural immunity should be taken into the equation. That's all I'm arguing, and I would love to see more research on just how much more exponentially effective it is. But we'll get to that in a second. So last week, this is scary, again, Australia. Premier Daniel Andrews gave these words of hope. Be not afraid, for he brings tidings of great joy to the people of Australia.
So first of all, I can announce that by Friday the 15th of October, every single authorised worker that is on that authorised worker list, whether they be in Melbourne or in regional Victoria, will need to have had at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. That is, if they want to continue working.
If there's people that don't want this mandatory vaccine, how do we manage this?
Well, then they won't be going to work.
Nazi fags. Okay.
It's very, very simple. It's very simple. We want to open the place up. I'm not taking lectures on freedom from people who will hold all of us back. Right? We want to be free. We're going to be free. We're going to be open.
Isn't
and the
that
key to
getting
that is getting these vaccination numbers
eerily similar
up
to the
and
Jews?
up and up. We're going to have a vaccinated economy, and we're going to lock some people out, because that is far better than locking everybody down.
Okay, a couple of things. First off, there are some assumptions there that are clearly incorrect. That lockdowns work. The WHO said they don't work. The data sets show that they absolutely do not work. I'm not saying that not locking down shows guaranteed better outcomes, but lockdowns certainly don't. Let's be very clear about that. So that assumption is, well, of course, our only option is the lockdown or removal of people's freedoms.
Right.
That's what he's saying. And then he says, I'm not going to hear about freedom from people who are removing freedom for the. That's very similar to what they did with the Jews. Now, I'm not saying gassing the Jews. What I'm saying is the lead up, which is we don't want to hear complaints about Germany from the people who are the ones destroying the economy in Germany.
Exactly.
These people are responsible for it. I don't want to hear about freedom from the people who are responsible for all of you removing your freedoms. Boy, is that scary.
Right. And by the way, I don't know if I want to hear a conversation about freedom that starts authorized workers.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? That means there's a list of people that the government arbitrarily says cannot work. Period.
I think that you'll find the answers are satisfactory in the spec crypt for Black Mirror episode. So, and I said this, it's what's most scary to me is that no one in the United States has admonished them when they were mad that the Taliban didn't have women in their cabinet. Yeah, I'm surprised that you're surprised. They throw acid in a girl's face for trying to go to a local junior high. You're surprised that the Taliban doesn't have them in positions of unelected office, but no condemnation from our government here in the United States for the tyranny that is going on in Australia. You don't need a conspiracy. You don't need to talk about what if, to me, Australia is enough. And maybe that's because Dr. Fauci, one of the highest paid government officials who's been completely unelected, has a very similar assessment.
There are a number of people, for one reason or other, who just do not want to comply and get vaccinated. We've got to get them vaccinated. And hopefully they will do it willingly. If not, there will have to be things that will essentially put pressure on them, such as you're not going to work in this particular agency
then don't
or
use
institution.
The word willingly.
You're not going to be able to go to this college or this university unless, in fact,
you're not
you
allowed
get
to
vaccinated.
do stuff
and I
unless you
believe
get it.
that
That's
once
freedom,
we
right?
start doing that,
Choice.
You will see more and more people willingly get vaccinated.
Not willingly.
It's not willingly.
If we take away their job and ability to
if we
make a
beat
living,
them with a billy club, then they will say, "Please, give me the shot."
It's the guy that disciplines his children. Like, Tommy, I would really like to see you willingly clean your room. Otherwise, Rex is going to be put in the apartment incinerator. So I hope you willingly clean your room.
He willingly took the vaccine after his head was in the vice and we popped his eye out.
Yeah, you made me pop your eye out for that guy?
For that guy. You made me pop your eye out for Fauci.
Yeah, exactly. Willingly. I want to hear. Someone needs to ask Fauci, well, what do you define as liberties? What do you define as something upon which you cannot encroach?
Liberties are something he takes every time he speaks.
Right, yes, exactly. True. But the good thing is, they don't agree on everything, the premier from Australia and Fauci. No, because Fauci just recently said that he has always, I know I'm kind of foreshadowing, he has always believed there is no time capsule that could show this as inconsistent. No. He has always believed, and he's always been very clear with you, that 3 doses, as opposed to the Australian premier there, said, you need to have at least 1 dose. Yeah. That 3 doses of the vaccine is the proper treatment regimen. Fauci has always believed this.
My opinion has always been that I believe that a 3rd shot booster for a 2-dose mRNA should ultimately and will ultimately be the proper complete regimen.
Oh, I've always advocated it. That's a guy who's never been punched in the face for lying.
Right.
No.
He used the wrong thing for 3, and then everybody just got shot.
Right.
So.
Isn't 3 vaccines the normal number for all vaccines?
Yes, for all vaccines.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Wait, you said 3?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've always said 4.
Oh, it's 4?
It's 4.
Wait. 5?
I don't know what he's talking about. This guy is not following the science of 6 vaccines. I've always believed.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit.
Yes. 7 every time. Abs.
6 is the magic number here. 6 shots, have you any immunity?
See?
In a year, all of America is just going to look like Professor Klump getting acupuncture. Just fat and stabbed.
So he's always believed 3. Oh, wait a second. Back in, I know, we need to go into the time capsule. Yeah. August! Fauci advocated for just 1 treatment unless the patient was immunocompromised and require a boost.
Is it inevitable, Dr. Fauci, that at some point in the not too distant future, everyone is going to need a booster shot?
Well, I think the important thing to point out is the differences between the immune compromised who really never really got a good response to begin with. So for them, it's more of getting them up to what they hopefully had gotten the first time around. But we know because of their immune compromise, they don't. But right now, at this moment, other than the immune compromised, we're not going to be giving boosters to people.
Sorry, pardon me, but fuck this guy. I've always believed 3. We're just a month away. A month away from when you said the opposite of that. Right. And people will say, well, the science has changed. No, you don't get off the marionette hook that easily, Fauci, okay? Because you've now said always, meaning the science has never changed. That's the problem. Well, science changes. But Fauci is saying the science has not changed. At what point does it become gaslighting? You go, hold on a second, I thought he didn't say 3. He goes, I've always said this. Then the defense is the science changed. Fauci has undercut that defense by saying the science has never changed. I've always said that. And no one is there a, hey, can we search, by the way, can people let me know in chat, is there a Snopes? Is there a PolitiFact on Fauci saying, I've always believed that it was 3 shots? Please let me know.
I think that's where it's where it's like, well, I've always believed, but that hasn't been official policy. I mean,
And
it's just been.
Do you think he'll stick to one story once he figures out the internet exists? Because that's how they act.
80.
Like they don't know there could be any proof. You can't rewind the internet.
Well, they're so insulated. They're so surrounded by people who just never say, huh?
Well, no, they're not. None of the
That's
interviewers
incorrect.
are ever going to challenge him because the media is just carrying his water and saying, "Oh, well, he's the scientist. We have to do this." Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Sorry, I almost talked about Sanjay Gupta, and that makes me throw up.
Well, don't do that.
I'm not going to.
It makes us all throw up.
We've been talking about boosters.
You'll throw up, and then he's going to throw up, and it's going to be a peristaltic
gonna
chain
throw up.
reaction.
Yeah,
And I throw up on this show a lot.
He does.
Yeah, that's true. We've been talking about boosters for months. This is not something that is a new thing. It's not a surprise.
To be fair, he could be confused because he needs it to fill out the children's placemat.
Well, that's true.
That's true. He's also not seen a paper.
How am I supposed to write on this? Can someone get me I've always said I need, all right, 3 boosted. Thank you. 3 chairs.
I didn't get my hologram with the Grand Slam breakfast.
I want 3 crayons.
That's a throwback. Sorry.
3
Multiple colors. Always get the 2. I would get the black.
Get the black and the white. It's a shade. It's not a color. It's a shade.
Ain't anything white.
What a piece of shit. Okay. Also, it gets worse. Sorry, pardon my language. I wish I just, look.
Just thoroughly done with this guy.
Lord, forgive me. It's wrong to hate. So, following the very first vaccines.
God's like, listen, there's exceptions.
It's like, I understand.
I mean,
I'm not saying I condone it, but no one's getting punished for it either.
Look at the tagline, or look at the lower third right. They just changed.
I don't. We'll talk about it.
they
I'm just too nervous that we'll get in trouble for something they say that we're not allowed.
Okay,
to
all right.
say.
We'll talk about it later.
But we will talk about it on Mug Club. It gets worse. This was this August. Following the first vaccines administered in December 2020, Fauci said that 1 dose of the vaccine would be effective even against, at that point, the new Alpha variant from the UK. This is when we first. So he's always believed 3. We just showed you in August. He believes 2. Now let's go back to when the vaccines were first released.
I want to ask you about the UK mutation. And we call it that, except of course
Well, we
it's
asked you
had
about your Pugsley Adams
months
haircut.
to spread. And so what I'm wondering is how likely is it in your mind
Didn't
that
John
it is already
Wick kill that guy like
in
11
Canada,
times?
already in the United States?
I would not be surprised that if it already is at low levels in other countries that have not yet detected it, including Canada, including the United States.
What is the rationale here?
It's suggestive that given the rate of spread in the UK, that this mutation might be responsible for the increased spread, which means it increases the transmissibility of the virus. That could be true. We're going to assume that it is. What we know it doesn't do, it does not appear to increase the virulence of the virus, namely making it a more serious or deadly virus. And it doesn't appear at all to interfere with the protective effect of a vaccine.
Okay, so he wasn't right about that. Now, a study from the New England Journal of Medicine compared the efficacy of 1 dose of the Pfizer vaccine to 2 doses when treating the UK Alpha variant. 1 dose was 48%, 2 doses 93%. 1 dose, 3, 2. When people say follow the science, how do they follow the science? And how do they follow the science that changes if they're then told that the science has never changed? What that does is just tell you that even if you're one of the hyper-progressives who believes that you're following the science and science changes, all Fauci is doing is saying that you're wrong. When he says, I've always believed this, it means whatever you've done, you're wrong because he's never wrong. Let's just be clear about that. The science didn't change with the masks, the PPE shortage.
Yeah.
He basically said, well, I lied because I wanted to make sure that nurses had the mask. So I wasn't wrong about the science. Now he's saying, it's like, well, you said 1 dose. You said 1 dose was enough. Then you said 2 doses and less. And he's like, no, I've always said 3.
Right.
And no one in the media just says, no, you said 2. That would screw his whole propaganda plan right there.
Right. And if you are willing to accept, I lied for the betterment of the people, I lied to make sure that we had a better supply of PPE, I lied to make sure more people got vaccinated. I'm not saying they said that, but I'm saying if you accept that, you'll accept anything that he says. And he's like, oh, well, I just did it for the good of the people. If you go back through history, every single time these things spin out of control, it's for the better of the people. Like, oh, I'm doing it for the betterment of all the people. Australia, we're doing it for the people who got vaccinated.
Right.
We're doing it for you, Joe Biden. We're doing it so that we can reopen the economy. I know there's unvaccinated people out there and they're holding us back. Jim Psaki, Columbia Pressers. I'm doing it to make sure that we don't get any students infected here. Schools
Jim Jones
in
will
California.
live in peace.
Right. Well, no, and then you get people who really do look like a reincarnation of the devil that are that's the head, the governor of California coming out and saying, oh, yeah, every single kid has to, as soon as the shots are available to go to class live, you have to get the shot. Every single one. Gavin Newsom. He just looks evil. But that's what you get when you believe the lie and go, it's okay to lie. It's okay to lie as long as it's for my good.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. This is just a question. So YouTube, this is not a statement.
All right.
I just have an honest question I want to ask.
Okay.
Could
This
it
is
be
dangerous.
that the amount of alcohol that we're using on a constant basis, as well as a vaccine that hasn't been around that long, could be creating the variants or making a virus stronger?
Is it
That's all I'm
possible?
asking. Is it possible?
What, you mean alcohol in combination with it?
Well, I think the fact that when you cover yourself constantly in hand sanitizer.
Oh, I thought you meant drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I wish.
Dave's on.
I've been dousing it with Canadian whiskey for years. It only takes me a thimble and I'm hammered.
Yes.
No Schlitz with the vaccine.
That's why my brothers never got it. No, I love him. I'm kidding. I know. he's
No,
right.
look, and
But
there's-
it's not an honest question.
A lot of scientists have asked the question too. Can someone bring this up? Because I want to make sure I'm not incorrect. There were more deaths, I don't know if it was in the UK, this August than last August. It was either more deaths or hospitalizations or cases this August than last August when there weren't people vaccinated. So, look, I know you can say it's the Delta variant.
Yeah.
I believe it comes from the UK numbers. They release them every Thursday. And because they have socialized healthcare and there's no right to privacy there, they have more data. So, again, it's just like, okay, at that point, then the argument gets to, well, it's because of the Delta variant. And then they say, well, a high percentage of people who get infected, it's because it's a high percentage of the population. So natural. And then they act like, so naturally, they're going to be a higher percentage in whichever example is being used, whether it's Israel or Australia or whatever. So naturally, a higher percentage if more people. No. If a vaccine works, it's not naturally. It's going to parallel the percentage, because then it means that it's not effective. And there are some people who have said because of how viruses mutate, and these are doctors, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but viruses tend to become more transmissible and less deadly. Today's flu is effectively a remnant of the Spanish flu. People need to understand that. Viruses continually mutate. It's in the best interest of the virus. There are exceptions to the rule. It's in the best interest of the virus to not destroy all of its hosts. So typically, we see them become more contagious, more transmissible, but less deadly on a percentage basis. And if you have people who have, let's say, protection against one kind of the virus, one variant of the virus, so that virus can't live with those people, but the virus is mutating, seeking more hosts, you may end up with a variant that can somehow, and then you end up, according to Mayo Clinic, I think it was the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, it was 42% effective against the Delta variant. It was like 90% against the Alpha variant. And you end up with variants. Look, when you understand how viruses work, and there are doctors who talk about this, what happens? They're banned from YouTube, they're banned from Twitter, they're banned from Facebook. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying historically, that's how viruses tend to mutate. There are always exceptions.
Well, and we've known this for a long time. When you don't kill a virus, when you allow the virus to live, but you do something to make it less deadly, right? Which is a good thing. That's a very positive step forward to take, or to decrease severe kind of cases of this for hospitalizations. It allows the virus to continue to live in the host.
Right.
And it gives it the opportunity to mutate and to be more transmissible. Any virus that we've dealt with has done this. That's why most of the time when you get a vaccine, it actually takes that out, right? Otherwise, it's a treatment that doesn't necessarily kill the virus. There's benefits to that, but there's also this kind of consequence that we're not really.
Well, it's the same thing like with the flu shot, right? You don't get you get measles vaccines. You get those vaccines. It's a flu shot because it's a different variant that comes back of the flu often every year, and so it's a yearly shot.
And they're taking a wild guess at it. Like, there's these three that tend to be the jerks we're going to have to target.
We think so, but either
it's okay.
way,
We all accept that risk.
You're going to be holding
Like,
a bloody arm from someone who's untrained at your local Walgreens.
Right. And by the way, I would be surprised. Sorry, Dave. Just one final thing on this. This is brand new. When this stuff started happening, I don't expect our experts to be like, yeah, we've got this nailed. It's brand new. We didn't know this was coming. It's okay if you have an oh crap moment. We didn't see that coming. I would believe you more if you were honest.
Some of my colleagues did have an oh soil moment, but I always believe it was 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
3 being the magic number of doses, the magic number of doses having been 3. What were you saying, Dave?
No more, no less.
Well, yeah, I don't know where this came from. Like, how many viruses are we aware of that were man-made in the sense of like this, where like somebody had like a spider monkey sandwich, then went on a plane or whatever the hell happened in Wuhan. So, but it
was a bat, Dave.
But I'm sorry, a bat, a vampire bat.
It was a bat churro. Yeah.
Yeah. Churro. Jesus.
But how many times have we released a virus? Is this a first, a second? Like I'm honestly.
I don't know the number. I don't know the number. We don't even know where it's come from, right?
Because Ebola wasn't a man-made virus, right?
I don't believe so. I don't believe that Ebola was. Ebola's been around for a long time, and then there was, there were different versions of SARS, like the bird flu. There was, they're all SARS coronavirus.
Well, that's the big concern. Like, are we going to inadvertently? Let's just stay inadvertently. Are we going to inadvertently release something that is very deadly? Now, in China, we can assume motive. Maybe we can have a conspiracy theory about it, or we can say they had bad procedures and they didn't follow them very well, or we should have been doing gain-of-function research. Rand Paul had some great questions about that.
Right.
But eventually, that's the fear, is that we're going to do it to ourselves.
Right.
Right. We're going to make a mistake, and it's going to get out, and we're going to have a problem with it.
Following the science without any moral parameters is dangerous.
Well, it's Dr. Moreau.
Right. Well, or Jeff Goldblum. Life finds a way.
Finds a way.
Yeah. So, no, that's a good point. I don't know how many of them are, but I know that Ebola was close to a half death rate. That was very, very different. That was in Liberia, anyway, specifically.
Oh no, it was really bad.
It was really bad. Yeah. By the way, now this brings us to natural immunity, and that's why I've been asking you if you've had COVID, if you got it again. The master of science, Dr. Fauci, was questioning natural immunity at every turn. Here you go.
It is an assumption that is okay to get infected and to get mild and moderate disease as long as you don't wind up in the hospital and die. And I have to be open and honest. I reject that.
I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID. I'm protected. And now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
We have it now.
That's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response.
Which one is Sanjay?
The one thing the paper from Israel didn't tell you is whether or not, as high as the protection is with natural infection, what's the durability compared to the durability of a vaccine. So it is conceivable that you got infected, you're protected, but you may not be protected for an indefinite period of time.
Okay. Let's go. Angela, you have those numbers. We'll go back to those numbers in a little bit because really quickly I want to rattle through this. We have a study to substantiate what we're about to show, but just last night, Project Veritas, our friend there, James O'Keefe, you can go and watch it on their social media channels as well as their website. They released undercover video with scientists from Pfizer saying that your antibodies are more effective, more durable than their own vaccine when it's not Fauci on a quadrant. This is what the scientists at Pfizer say.
Carl is an experienced biochemist at Pfizer with a history of working in the pharmaceutical industry. Nick admits to our undercover journalist that those who've had COVID have stronger immunity than those who've received the Pfizer COVID vaccine.
When somebody is naturally immune, like they got COVID,
scientist,
they probably have
Figaro
better,
chain,
like not better, but more antibodies against the virus. Because what the vaccine is like I said, that protein that's just on the outside. So it's just one antibody against one specific part of the virus. When you actually get the virus, you're going to start producing antibodies against like multiple pieces of the virus. And not only just like that outside portion, like the inside portion, the actual virus. So your antibodies are probably better at that point than the vaccination.
2 other Pfizer scientists
so
echo the
says
same sentiment.
Gay Dickie Greenleaf.
Guy who looks like he sells cocaine that's mostly baby laxative.
He just said probably more than the vaccine.
You're protected
most likely for longer, since it was a natural response.
We're like bred and taught to be like vaccine is safer than actually getting COVID. You cannot like talk about this like in public. If you have antibodies built up, like you should be able to prove that you have those built up.
I mean, I still feel like I work for like an evil corporation. We're trying to keep track of everyone that's been vaccinated versus the census of how many people are actually reported. Basically, our organization is run on COVID money now. Right now, we're seeing an increase in the Delta variant, mostly not because of the variant, because of their antibodies are waning. So they're still protected, but not at that 95% efficacy. It's more like 70%. So you're protected most likely for longer, since it was a natural response.
That's scientists from Pfizer. Going to go to projectveritas.com/brave to support them. That's the scientists at Pfizer saying you're protected for longer. And remember, when I was interviewing people on the street, Quarter Black, we'll have this up sometime this week, maybe Thursday. One lady said, it was just two Asian ladies, and they said, well, we recently had the vaccine, and I'm recently immune. I said, well, what do you mean? You said you have the vaccine, but you're recently immune. Well, I had COVID. I said, okay, so let me ask you, and you'll see this video. I said, let me ask you, do you think that should be considered people who don't want to get the vaccine if they have natural immunity? And she said, well, no, because natural immunity, it doesn't work against the variants, and it only lasts for like 3 months. I said, actually, from the little science that's been conducted or we're allowed to discuss, the exact opposite is true. No, you don't know anything, she says through her KN95 mask that she got at Buc-ee's. So there's a 700,000 person study, not just Pfizer saying this, from Israel that shows natural immunity is 27 times stronger, that people are 27 times less likely to get reinfected from natural immunity than people who had done the full 2-course treatment. That's why now in Israel, you're not even considered vaccinated unless you're doing the third booster.
Right, exactly. And that just happened at like the stroke of midnight 2 days ago, I believe. It's like, boom, you're unvaccinated. Guess what? If you're in Australia and that happens, you're not going to work tomorrow.
Right.
You have to get the booster.
Did you say, Angela, we have those numbers?
It looks like we do. I just had them sent in.
Okay. So we have these numbers. This is one thing where people just look, and I understand, I'm not a statistician, and I understand that people will say, well, actually, you have to look at the death rate for, okay. I understand all that can be taken into account. However, if the argument now is that this was a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and now it's, well, actually, it can affect the unvaccinated and the vaccinated, so I don't feel safe, so I need a mask. So I don't really know what they're saying now. However, if this is a problem exclusively of the unvaccinated, of course, we would have higher total deaths, for example, in August of this year compared to August of 2020.
That does look like it's higher.
Wow.
Is that August of this year and August of 2020?
I don't think we
That's
we're trying to find it.
The one to the left is May 2020 over there, and then the other sheet you have.
Yeah, it's hard to see a side by side here.
We need to see the August numbers. They just released
February.
They just released these numbers. They released them on Thursday. And I say that because that's when we had a recent surge.
You can see it right there. So the dip on the left side of the screen, that's August. If they hover over it, that's August of 2020. And that, not the big spike, but the other spike there should be around August of 2021. So it looks like higher.
August 1st, yeah.
Okay, so it's higher.
Yeah. So higher in 2021 than in 2020.
That's what
according to your point.
I was saying you should expect them to be lower.
You should expect the opposite.
Right.
You would think.
It's significantly higher.
Right.
Bring up that last one again. That's the last graph. Yeah. Now that we understand, because again, keep in mind I'm looking at a small monitor. So the first dip is August 2020.
So, and by the way, just
right
to be clear, this is the hospital admissions graph.
Okay, the
So
hospital
looking
admissions
at
graph. I'm pretty sure that I don't know, there were a couple of graphs that actually were pretty similar, but again, the numbers, there should be no number.
We'll bring it up for tomorrow, too.
Yeah, there's no number that should be higher in August of this year compared to August of last year, considering that 50, is this exclusive in the UK or numbers in the United States, considering that a huge portion, a majority of the population are vaccinated.
Yeah.
So in any way, in other words, you would have to look at the total number of unvaccinated people. This is something that just, you don't need to be a scientist just to say something doesn't pass the sniff test.
Yeah.
Look, if this were a vaccine that worked just as effectively or more effectively as natural immunity, And if Fauci actually believed that the entire time that you needed 3 shots, we wouldn't be in this absolute quagmire at this point.
Yeah.
The issue is they haven't been forthcoming. They haven't changed the science. They've ghosted previous science. That's the issue. Yeah. You can't go and find the science. Right now, try and find the science. Mayo Clinic, large-scale clinical study on vaccine efficacy. You'd have to type in 4, 5, 6 cross-reference words to find it.
Yeah.
Now just type in Fauci natural immunity, and you'll have video after video after video of him saying, well, we don't know. That's the point right now, is they remove science that is no longer convenient. I absolutely believe that science is developing.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely believe that we should follow the changes in science while, of course, keeping our eye on what's most important, our fundamental liberties. You just can't erase all of the science that you were espousing previously.
Right. And the question that I want to ask Dr. Fauci from that last interview, Sanjay just said, well, there's a lot more from just having natural immunity. That's great. And he's like, well, yeah, but we don't know how long it lasts. Is it longer than 6 months? Is it longer than 4 months?
Hey, let me ask you this.
Seen that drop.
How many people who have tested positive for COVID have recontracted COVID? Now, how many people who've been vaccinated have caught COVID? There you go. There's your answer. You can look it up yourself, because I don't want to get in trouble for posting the truth, because that's not science. It'll hit you in the face like a sledgehammer. Be sure to put on your mouth guard. We have to go to Mug Club, but first, let me show you actually what we'll be playing on Mug Club. We're going to be playing bad movie lines. A lot of people don't know what we do sometimes with We'll be playing this with you. We have a teaser.
I was given paranormal powers as a child. I've hacked into just about all the information I need. They have no idea. No more books!
You were given a power.
Others want to take this from me. I knew I loved you when I was 8 years old. Should I be afraid? Should we be afraid? I'm not ready for this!
You're going to get yourself killed.
But you should be scared, because it is the truth. I'm gonna get out of here, but you can't see what's about to happen.
They don't pay me enough for this. All right, YouTube, we're going to go play bad movie lines or watch this testimony, depending on what people in the chat say. YouTube, piss off. See you tomorrow.